Okay, so in 2007, I got to go to my favorite school, the school that I've always wanted to go to since I was 12 years old because I didn't know Christian schools existed, Eastern Nazarene College, and it's in Quincy, Massachusetts. Our mascot was the Crusaders, and I really liked it. But then somebody got mad, so we are now the Lions, or whatever. For the first 20 minutes, I kid you not, 20 minutes of my college career, I was a music and TV and radio guy, and I didn't like it, so I changed it in 20 minutes. Yay. But I thought, I like to sing and I like playing the piano and I like teaching people how to do both. So why not? I become a music education major. Then I quickly realized that, I can't. And it's going to take 6 years for me to finish my college degree because I don't know how to play the piano and read music at the same time. Seriously, ain't nobody got time for that. 6 years in school? No way. But while I was trying to figure that out, I had a music teacher, and he was a phenomenal pianist. He was a phenomenal player. He was like ranked second in the world, but he was really mean. He was a jerk to me. He made me feel really bad about myself, about my piano playing abilities, and he said to me, "You know what, Matthew? You just do not have the keyboard skills. You'll never be a good pianist. You'll never be a good music teacher." And I took that to heart. It really hurt me that one time when he said that. And I got really mad and angry at God because I really thought that this is what I was supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be being a music teacher. And now I'm like, what am I good at? What am I supposed to be doing? What's my identity here? I got sad and I drew a nose. I got sad and I was just really complaining. I didn't know what I was good at. So I thought, I like math and I like tutoring, so why not become a math teacher? I hate high school, and junior high school is too hard, and junior high and high school are too hard, so I decided to be an elementary education major. I still was in two choirs. I was going to be on the summer ministries team that year, and that was going to be fun. I enjoyed doing that and helping kids. I also was a part of the Wollaston Bible quiz team. Well, first for New England, I was a quiz master for them, and then at the Wollaston Church, right off the at the school, I became the quiz coach. Then I got a girlfriend, and I thought all was well with the world. Until we broke up that summer, before I went to Summerman, but not important to the story. This is important to the story, however. I was, it was in 2008 after my second Summerman trip, and that summer I was single, and I met this girl when we came back to school. And she was really nice, and she was taller than me, and apparently had a bigger head, and we fell in love. Hmm. We thought we were going to be the best thing ever. We were like the couple on campus. I thought everything was going aces, was pulling up aces for me because on my report cards and stuff, everything was going well. I had math classes, English classes, and all that stuff, and I thought I was becoming a really good student. I had A's in math. I had an A in ed tech. I only had a B in English, and for my philosophy classes, I had a C. But I really liked that class. Anyway, I thought that everything was going well, and I loved life. But things happened. 2 years later, I started student teaching. I was a math teacher in a fifth grade class, and I wanted to tell my students and to show them through many different ways that math is fun and everything is great and enjoyable. I wanted them to call me Mr. B, but my last name wasn't long enough for them to do that, so it's okay. I loved teaching math, but the whole teaching aspect of teaching was great, but the preparedness was horrible. I was always coming home late at night, every night, with a very inflated head, and coming home late at night and sitting at my desk and grumbling to myself because I always had a bunch of books to use. I always had a bunch of like lesson plans to make and other things to make and things and books and covering over me, and it was like I was trapped under my mound of books. I didn't know where to turn or where to go. It was just really horrible for me. I didn't understand why I had that kind of stuff. Anyway, I stuck with it though and finished my degree. I graduated from Eastern Nazarene College in 2010 with a degree in elementary education with a focus in mathematics. And I was, yep, class of 2010. even though I really left the school in 11. But I was still concerned with what I wanted to do. I graduated with an elementary degree, but I really had a big question. What do I want to do with my life? Who do I want to be when I grow up? My identity, I felt, after that was changing too. Anyway, moving on. So I was really, really broke. I'm talking about broke. Um, After school, I tried to be a substitute teacher and other things, and I was just really, really broke. I I watched a fly one time come out of my hand. It was hilarious. A fly coming out of my hand and cobwebs and stuff. But I was just really broke. I didn't know what to do. I thought that I was gonna end up in a box after school, and it was just a hard time for me. I did live in an apartment though. My apartment was kind of awkward. It was on an incline and there was mold on the walls. It was gross. And my bed was on wheels, so I'd go to sleep in one area and wake up in another. Kind of funny when you think about it, but again, not really important to the story. Um, when I left school, I really needed a job. And so for the summer of 2011, I put on Facebook, hey, anybody want to hire me for something? And so my friends at Petersburg Church of the Nazarene said, hey, do you want to be a youth pastor intern? They're like, yeah. I'm like, sweet, let's do that. I'm going to be a youth pastor intern. But July 30th, 2011 happened, which was one of the worst days of my life. I don't remember if it was that day specifically, but my girlfriend for 2.5 years broke up with me. I didn't know where to turn or who to be. The next morning, God woke me up at about 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, okay, God, do you want me to sit down and pray for the service? That'll do. But he said, get up and go running. And I'm like, running? Why do you want me to go running? Have you met me? I'm fat and chubby. Have you not seen the beginning parts of this video where I drew myself fat? Anyway, he said, go up and go running. So I went out and ran to this big sign that was about 1.5 miles away across the street from this store. And, or not across the street from the store, it was across the street from the firehouse. And I was riding next to the store. And I ran all the way to the sign. And once I got to that sign, I started busting out crying. The weight of the world were on my shoulders, and I just didn't know where to turn or what to do. At one point, though, I did feel the heat of the sun on my shoulders. It felt like a really big hug or something else. I was sobbing on the middle of the road, and I bet people were looking and laughing at me. But it was one of the most incredible times in where I felt the presence of God on me. And I thought I heard him. Actually, I don't think. I know I heard him say this. Do I have your attention? This scared the mess out of me. And I broke down and I said, God, yes, you have my attention. Apparently, I've been letting all of my issues and stuff become more important than God. He said, I asked him, I was like, look, I have a job. I need a job. And I thought I was going to have a wife by now. And I have a bunch of issues. And he's like, yeah, of course you have a bunch of issues because you're making everything else more important than me. What you need to do is to get your life together. Instead of, well, actually, not get your life together, but come back to me. I should be the number one thing in your life, not anything else. I will take care of your issues. And from that point, I knew that my call was to ministry. I mean, I thought I was going to teach again, but I knew that I had to do ministry. I had to be in teen ministry. So, 2 weeks later, it was a really great thing, and I dealt with the breakup and stuff, but I was on the phone. And someone that I met 2 years before was on the phone with me now. 3 years before. It was Pastor Wes from this church. And he called me, and I was like, hey, how are you doing? I was like, how did you get this number? But he asked me one specific question. He said, would you like to become a youth pastor over here on the Philadelphia district at our church? And after a lot of prayer, I said, sure. I felt like God was opening up these doors. And you know what? I busted straight through them. And I joined this church. And I got to meet all of you guys. I got to meet all of you cool kids here at Grace Community. And it's been an amazing adventure going through the Word of God together, laughing together, crying together, doing a bunch of other things together, getting in trouble, well, not getting in trouble. But it was just amazing getting to meet each and every one of you. But there were some days in where it got hard. Still are some days where things get hard. And I was still contemplative of, does God really want me to be a youth pastor? You sure, God? You want me to do this for the rest of my life? Or go back into teaching? Or do something? I was like, God, I didn't have a girlfriend anymore. I don't have a girlfriend anymore. So do you want me to stay here? Ministry is hard on your own. And God, I know I have my driver's license now, but how am I going to afford a car? Other things, I was like, the youth group is awesome, but what about other things with our youth? Other youth groups have bigger youth groups and stuff, and I was wondering if I was doing a good job or stuff. Am I supposed to be here? Well, I know that now that I'm supposed to be here, but I really started asking myself, who am I? Am I supposed to be a pastor? Am I supposed to be a lawyer? I thought I was a lawyer at one point. Am I supposed to be a teacher? Am I supposed to be a game show host? Sometimes I feel like all four of those things at any given time. But I really was losing my identity. I didn't know who I really was. And I got to think, for this sermon, a lot of you, when we talk, people call you fun names, or not fun names, but bad names, like stupid, fat, or ugly, or anything like that. But there's another thing that's true. We all still deal with the sin that is in our lives. The sin and the lies and the cheating and the other things that we know we do that is wrong, that separate us from God. That's not part of our identity. We should be doing other things. We should be following after Christ and not falling into the box of sin. But what's our identity? What are we supposed to be doing? So I remember the movie we saw last week, To Save a Life. I was thinking, how can we transition into something that is worthwhile? And then I came up with the word identity. So I thought of, oh yeah, I forgot this part. Remember, like, you ever got an ID card and someone asks you, so what do you do? And you're like, I don't really know what we do or what I do. We have a case of identity crisis, and that's something that God doesn't want us to have. Don't you know that we're secure, we're safe, we're everything inside of Christ? So I decided, you know what, let's go on this journey together. And I really mean journey. Because that's what the walk of Christ is. That's what living a life of Christ is. We're all a part of the same journey, going for the same goal. Learning more about God and following after Him. So here's our theme verse for this extravaganza, if you will. It comes from 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, and you belong to God. Belonging to God. What does that even mean? I really want us to discover that this series. We're going to be asking some hard questions. And what does it mean to be a child of God, to be safe in God, and all of that, all of the other things like that? What does it mean to be a follower of Christ? What Christ's child? What does it mean to be in the center of His identity? Well, I don't know. Let's find out together.